So the important part here is that your school is actually a Google, has a Google ecosystem. So if your school does have a Google ecosystem, then you can do all these steps that we're going to show here. My goal here isn't really to try to sell you something, it's to more show something that's very useful. So here, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about in general vibe coding. We're going to say, what is it? What can we do with it? As well as walk through 3 example solutions and actually vibe code right in front of you. And vibe coding basically just entails telling an AI kind of what to do. So why do we want to vibe code? Like, what can we do with it? So here we can actually do a lot of administrative tasks. And I've created at least like 12 different programs that a school is actually using. So here we can actually move away from spreadsheets. As many of you are probably aware, in a lot of these spreadsheets, someone will just have like something crazy going on. They'll delete something, it's shared with tons of people and it's broken. And you're spending tons of time trying to fix it. You can streamline workflows, you can track student data, you can remove all this paperwork, and you can save so much time. So with vibe coding, our solutions are basically limitless. Like, we're only limited by our imagination. And at the school that I'm working at in Oklahoma, we have about 4,000 students, and we're just constantly finding new things that we can use, that we can code and create something for. So let's say, what is vibe coding? Maybe you've heard of that, maybe you haven't. But basically, vibe coding is just AI prompting, whereby we have this idea, and we're like, what can we do? And then we just go ahead and prompt the AI with a set of instructions. The AI generates some sort of something out of this prompt, and then we just edit and refine. And this is basically an iterative process, whereby we're constantly doing this, trying to get the output that we want. So the goal here of today's sort of 1 hour lesson is that we're going to try to build or learn how to build your own custom campus apps from scratch. So we're going to try to build 3 solutions here today. So one of them, we're going to try to send some mass targeted and personalized emails. We're going to go ahead and try to create a behavior tracker. And then finally, we're just going to see if we can visualize a lot of this data. And we're going to do this within 1 hour, 3 solutions very quickly. But also note that although we are building these solutions, the point of it isn't that you're only going to learn how to build these 3 things, is that this can be applied in tons of different ways. So we're going to learn these prompting, we're going to learn what to do, where to output it, where to copy paste, all these sort of things. So first, we have to see where we're going to copy paste. Let me go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing. That way I can share my full screen. Let's see. All right. So here we're going to vibe code in something called Google Apps Script. So essentially, you can use any single AI, and it's going to output something called code. This is just computer language that can be compiled to do some different things. So we're going to leverage AI to basically write and build our solutions. The important part is that we're not inputting any student data into this AI at all. Instead, we have some data in a Google Sheet, and we're going to tell AI how it is structured. This is the most important part in terms of vibe coding for school solutions. And so here we're going to try to build our first one. We're going to try to email teachers about students with specific grades. So when we're building our prompt, it's important that we're doing a couple stuff. So here I have a couple of them already pre-made, and we're just going to walk through what did I just do and what's the purpose of it. So the main thing here is you want to go ahead, when you're putting in Google Apps Script, I'm going to show you where that's at in a second. We're going to output something. We're going to tell the AI output a code.js function for this specific thing. Or if you forgot already, we're emailing teachers about students with specific grades. Then we're going to describe the sheet structure, including column headers and values. So here I have this crazy looking sheet that I'm sure a lot of you can go ahead and generate from your SIS system. We have our student name, and of course, all these are fake data. We have our student ID, we have our class, the grade they have in class, the missing assignment, the tardy's IEP, and things like that. So most of you might just see this and say like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and try to filter for those that are below a 50. And then let me try to email all these teachers. And then now I have to go ahead and create a draft and copy paste and say, hey, how's Nora doing to this specific person? How's Mia doing? and you just keep doing that and you waste about an hour. Or we can just build this once, and then we just have a solution that we can use always, given some structured data. So you describe the context of what you want to do, and you're detailed. So here, output a code.js function to aggregate email drafts. So I'm just telling AI exactly what I want to do. Think about AI that's like that example that in teaching, whereby maybe you've seen it before in elementary school, where they say, how do you build a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And the students go ahead and write an essay, and a lot of the times they're just like, grab the peanut butter and put it on the bread. So the teacher just grabs a whole chunk full of out of their hands and just puts it on the bread. And so AI is the exact same way, where it doesn't know what you want it to do, and you have to be as specific as possible. So here I'm telling it that one email per teacher that is personalized and detailed. The script is attached to an active spreadsheet. This is another big thing to say, saying that that the script that we're about to see, the Google Apps script, is attached already to a sheet. Here I'm explaining that I already have sheet 1. And then I'm explaining the exact same headers that I currently have. So up here at the very top, I'm explaining that I have these things at the very top of my header. And then I have to tell it about the data, because again, we're not sharing any data with AI, because we don't want to do that in terms of it could be FERPA compliant. So we want to make sure that we're not just manually copy pasting and throwing it in AI. So I'm just telling it exactly how my data looks like. That here, my grade in class, values from 0 to 100, missing assignments are numerical, IEPs yes or no, and all these various things. And I'm telling it what I want it to do. So instead of just emailing everyone, I want to focus on the kids that have an IEP and are failing. So if the teacher, so I'm just saying exactly what I want it to do. And then finally, I'm giving it a purpose of why am I doing this? That way it's able to make this email pretty good. So let's go ahead and hit go, and we'll see how it goes. So here the AI is going to take a little bit of second to think. Does anyone have any questions while this AI thinks for like a minute or two? If not, I can show you exactly where extensions are at. So here the AI is already outputting stuff. I'm going to go into AppScript. And this is exactly where it lives, what we're gonna utilize. Let's see. Here is the Google Apps script. Well, it didn't even output it. Oh, my AI is acting funky. And if that happens, we'll just use a different AI. Oh, there it is. It's just my browser. All right, so here I was, and here's my Google Apps script. So I'm going to take exactly what AI just outputted and just copy paste it exactly in here. I'm going to hit save, and it gave me exact instructions on what to do at the bottom. Why? Because I prompted it. Add the app scripts. In the top, click extensions, exactly what we just did. Delete any code, click the save icon, and then in the apps editor, select this from the dropdown, create IEP drafts, and click run. So here it's going to go ahead and run. This is the important part, saying that you're allowing, like, this is not AI, you're allowing this code to go ahead and run something in your Google ecosystem. And you just hit continue. And let me see. I already had my email opened up somewhere. It looks like I don't. So here it reset. I emailed 5 drafts. Let me go check out my drafts. That way you can see that it actually happened. And so right here, you can see it created those emails for those exact students already done for each of those 5 teachers, saying, hey, I'm reaching out about this student's grade below a 60. Here's Isabella Turner. You can go find Isabella Turner, and she has below a 60 in this class. And it emailed it to who? Miss Garcia or Miss Robinson. And so we can check and make sure that everything's sent, and then we just send the email and we're good to go. So just like that, I created something regardless of the data that's in here, right? It's that like I can do this quarterly. I just told it my exact structure. Your structure in your SIS system might be different. It might not have student email. It could be over here instead. And there's something else here, like student address. It does not matter as long as when I prompted the AI, I told it exactly where it had to go. So pretty crazy stuff. Let's see. Let's look at the next one. And then after this one, I'll go ahead and answer your questions if you have some. So in our next solution, here we're going to try to document student behaviors without using a single paper or pencil. So this could happen when you have like IEP students and you want to like send like, hey, we need to document what's happening in the classroom for IEP purposes to see if there are modifications or other accommodations are being met. So we're going to try to build our second prompt. So here I have this already typed out, and we're just going to walk through it pretty quick. So here I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to make it just a little bit better. Instead of sending emails, I want to create a web app. I want to create a link. I want to create a web page that people can go to go ahead and like input what's happening for these specific students. So here I simply just have this. I'm going to modify this a little bit because I have everyone's emails and not that much people showed up, so I'll go ahead and remove a lot of these. But so here I have emails that are actually you, the participants. That way you all can see what's happening in the background for teacher. I can show you how it's looking in the admin side on my screen. And then here we have student names. So this is all that I have, saying that like, hey, this person has this, needs to write something about this person. So similar to like, think of like a caseload. So you could have multiple emails, you could have multiple things, multiple student names, tons of things. And again, I'm just making an example. Your structure, your sheets could look different. And as long as you prompt AI correctly, you could build the exact same thing. So here I have to describe the sheet structure, including column headers and values. I have to describe the context on what to do, and I have to be very detailed. And then finally, when building web apps, especially in your own school, this is really important. Here in this demo, I'm going to do it slightly different because we're not all part of the same domain. We're not a part of the same organization. We're not a part of the same school. I'm doing slightly different in my prompts, but you should utilize these specific words. Verify users by get active user email. And I'll show that where in the AI in a second. So let's go up to the top. So here I say this exact same thing. Here, just for fun, I told it to include a modern looking web page, but easy to navigate. So AI is going to create something. I don't know what it's going to create. So I just told it to create something modern. Think of that same idea of sometimes AI could be slop, right? It could look weird because I'm not giving it good instructions. So I'm just showing an example of that as well, that maybe this output may not look that well. And it's just dependent on what do I tell it? Here, that same idea, those exact same words from the same prompt, saying I have an active spreadsheet attached to the Google script. So here I have this, and I go to extensions, and I go to app script, and this means that I have an attached Google app script to this specific sheet. Here, the headers are teacher email and student name. So same exact thing. Here, each teacher has one student, just for this specific example. If an email is found more than once, then they have two students. Note that teachers' emails can repeat. The reason why I say this is just showing you that this is not just for one teacher, one student. You could have the same teacher having multiple caseloads, multiple students. The student's name may be shown more than once, meaning the student has multiple teachers. So I'm just telling the AI exactly what's happening inside my spreadsheet without ever having to input student data into the AI. And so now I'm telling it the actual meat of the prompt. I need to create a web app. So big words here that are important, where teachers are prompted to answer questions about the student. Each teacher will see a different student, create a function. So this is that weird part here. So all of this that I wrote here is 100% irrelevant. So instead of this, you would write verify users by get active username. I have to tell it a weird workaround using tokens That way, when I send it to you all as an email, those of you that are watching, um, we'll be able to see those submissions coming in live. But it needs to be a weird workaround because we're not all under the same domain. But if you are, as in you're sending this to all the teachers in your same school email, you're at whatever at school.com, this is what you use. So here I'm just telling it at the end, submissions must be saved to a sheet, ensure no data is overwritten, and a big word here as well, saying lock service, and I'll explain that in a second. Have a function that creates the sheets already for me. Here I'm telling it it's state dependent, so I'm just giving it tons of instructions in terms of what I wanted to do. And this is me just after 1 or 2 years of just iterative, constantly talking to AI, already knowing how to prompt it. And I'd be happy to explain that more towards the end, but I'm just telling it that every single day a teacher will be inputting information about students. So it's date dependent, saying every single day they'll be inputting stuff about the student. And then finally, I just tell the AI, these are the questions that I want the users to answer. So, and there's tons of them. I only have 6 of them. So what did the student grasp the lesson today? Was the student's behavior okay today? Which describes the student's work habits. So I even include categorical data. That way all these things can be tracked as well over time. What accommodations did you utilize for this kid? So here I'm writing all the ones that I want. Again, this could be something that you make. This could be slightly altered. This could be slightly different. And then modifications used today. What modifications did you use and why? And tons of different options. And then finally, did you use any extra level of support? Yes or no? And that's it. So here, we'll try it out and see how it goes. Let me join on my other screen. That way I can see if there's any questions. There we go. You wrote, maybe a silly question. If we don't use Gmail as our email service, but have Microsoft Outlook, is there a way to do this from the spreadsheet? Or do you have to change the prop and then manually edit emails? So if you don't use Gmail as your email service, as long as your school allows Google Workspace for Education to occur, you could modify in such a way, and we can explain this one-on-one, but your school needs to be like a Google Workspace for Education account. That way all of this will work. If it doesn't, then this is not safe to use for your school for data purposes. So it has to be a Google Workspace for Education account. And if it's not, then this is not a secure thing for your school to utilize to input data. Because here, all the student data is being kept in Google Drive. And so if your school has Google Drive that's used by Google and they have all their agreements signed, that way this could happen, then it's fine. Yeah, so we can discuss that a little more at the end. Let's see what Google went ahead and outputted. So here it outputted this crazy thing. I have no idea what it means. There's all this code, this mumbo jumbo, but who cares? I'm just gonna go ahead and paste that. And of course, you could always prompt the AI and say like, is this safe? Is this secure for my students to see? Is this gonna send anything? Is there anything malicious? But here I prompted AI good enough that I know it's not gonna output something malicious, or I can be not necessarily 100% guaranteed, but pretty much there. And then here, index. But here I'm going to show you how I know that 100% this is not malicious. And so I finally outputted everything. Let's see, did it give me instructions? It did not. So here I'm just going to tell it now, how do I deploy this? Deploy is a big word. Here it's just meaning that how do I give this to people? How do I deploy this project? Yeah, and your question over here, what if you have a series of spreadsheets that you want to track student assessment data over years? Is that possible? That's 100% possible. That's just part of that process here at the start, where you're telling the AI exactly how your spreadsheet looks like. And so in a little bit towards the end, I'll show you tons of examples that we've done at the school that I work at, whereby we're tracking data long-term. If you're looking at years is a little not difficult. It just depends on your student size and how much data. There is a little bit of limitations looking at Google Apps Script, and I'll discuss that in a second. So here's just telling me, prepare your sheets, make sure it has this, and it's telling me everything step by step what I have to do. Extensions, app script, add the code, find, set up submission sheets. So here, find, set up submission sheets, and run. Same exact idea. I have to go to accept permissions, saying that it's okay for the code to send emails as me and for it to see all my spreadsheets. Oh, back. I should probably select all. Continue. And so now it automatically built all my spreadsheet here. So I had the sheet 1, and now it built this extra spreadsheet. That way we can go ahead and start grabbing a little bit of data. Let's see. Update the placeholder, go back and find this, and let's do this. So the last part in terms of here, this is why I know it's very secure, this web app, this web application that we're making. So I'm going to hit create deployment. I'm going to use web app because we're making a web page. And this is the most important part. So if you're kind of spacing out because it's very intensive and you want to watch this later, this is the most important part here, is that execute as me. You can do either or, but here I'm going to just do me. If you want depending on what you're utilizing, you can like say that, for example, let's say you have in your web page, and we'll show this an example later, where you want to send emails. If you only want the emails to come from you, then you do this one. If you want to do the emails to come from anyone who hits the button, then you have to hit this one. And then the most important part is this one, saying that when I send this spreadsheet, who can view this? So this is my workspace account that I have for my business. And so here it would say your school. So it would say, whatever, Riverdale, I don't know. So anyone with Riverdale High School can see this, or anyone with Google account. So here, because we're all different Googles, I have to do this one, and I have to deploy. And again, authorize, saying that it's okay for it to do all these things. Here I have my web app. A part of the instructions is telling me to go ahead and find that specific thing. And I just copy paste it. I'm just following the directions exactly as is. But really quick, I'm going to have to remove some of this. That way I don't send emails to 40 people. Because right now I have all 40 people that were scheduled to come, but let me go ahead and change that slightly. Give me 2 seconds. Well, I guess you'll be seeing something slightly weird looking. Let's see. If you could put your email in here really quick, or if you're not comfortable, I'm just trying to only send it to you all. So give me 2 seconds, or you can put your email in the chat. But otherwise, I could grab it. Let me go ahead and stop sharing really quick. That way I'm not leaking anyone's info. So give me 2 seconds to make this work for everyone. Let's see here. Oh, we got way more showing up. We have Denise. You know what? I don't want to waste all of your time, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And people that get it will be slightly confused. Oh well. Alrighty, let's keep going. So here I'm just going to keep telling the AI exactly what I want it to do. And here the AI told me the next step is to click this button, select the generate tokens and email. So all of you that are here should receive this email in a second. And so what it's literally doing right now is it's sending tons of emails on my behalf to all of you, saying, hey, here's your daily student evaluation link. Please go ahead and go in here and see what's happening. So you can go ahead and click that link if you got it. Otherwise, I'm going to show you kind of like what it shows. Where did that link go? Here's that. You go ahead and steal one of these. And I'll just put my own email. Not that one. And so if you haven't seen that already, let's go ahead and look at it. There we go. That way I'm not lost. And so what each teacher got is they got this crazy link here saying, hey, you have this crazy link, go ahead and click on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. And it made this exact same sheet. So sorry that it took so long for me to get there. But here it already pre-populated the kid that was assigned to me. And I just go ahead and input that and just write stuff down saying, how was this kid? And the very cool thing is that once I hit submit, it went ahead and saved that. So here on this end, 2 people have already submitted so far. So it's saving all this information basically for me already, which is pretty cool. So each teacher who's receiving this, each person that's receiving this would just be getting these emails and just, you know, you have all this data here. So instead of having a paper, instead of having a spreadsheet, instead of being confused, you have all this data already made, already saved. No one needed access to the sheet. None of you have access to it, yet you're being able to write here. And so no one is able to break your data. No one's able to delete your data. All your data is secured. No one can touch it, which is, pretty cool. Anyone have any questions on this process before I go to the last step? Oh, here we go. So what if teachers want to see their submissions? So that's another thing, right? Is exactly like if maybe, oh yeah, you've been here the whole time, but let's see, kind of like what I said over here is that although we are building these solutions, the point of this presentation is to show you how you can prompt it to create any solution. So that's the exact same idea, that whatever idea you have to prompt it. So as long as you prompt it saying, hey, I want them to be able to see their data over time. I want them to be able to see their past submissions. You just tell the AI, hey, I want them to be able to see their submissions, and it would build that for you. And so this thing works for as long as I want. So like right now they can see their submissions. So you could do, back over here, and if I submitted on 21, I could see 21. If I see the 20, I think right now there's a bug where right now it's every time that I put another date, it's putting this date. So I tell the AI that, saying, hey, the teachers aren't able to see previous dates. Let me go ahead and fix that. Could we add instructions to the code to provide them a PDF copy? Yeah, that's also possible. PDF copies are slightly different. You can ask the AI and it'll help you with that. But what you have to do for that one, at least based off of my expertise, you'd have to create a Google Doc with placeholders. So like, for example, you say like teacher name, and these is how teacher placeholders look like in here. And then you'd write whatever student name, and you'd have these exact little weird curly brackets. And then you'd write answer to number 1 or whatever. Answer 1. Or this is your submission. So essentially what the AI would do is you would just tell it like, hey, I have this crazy Google Doc. You can put in your logos, you can do whatever. This is how you'd be able to make a PDF. whereby you'd say like, hey, I have all these crazy things. Hey, I have a Google Doc. AI help me make a PDF from it every single time they submit. And you just prompt that in there as well. So it is possible to put in a PDF. It gets a little bit more complicated, but that is possible. Let's see the last thing that we're going to try to build before, if anyone doesn't have any more questions. Okay, so the last one we're going to build here is now we want to visualize this data. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to do slightly different, right? Is notice here I was making these crazy prompts. I already had all these prepackaged things. And now I want to visualize this data that people are submitting. But I don't know what prompt to use. So this is the cool part about AI, right? Is that it's an iterative process saying that, hey, I have an idea, here's my prompt. And so here I have a very tiny prompt to put into the AI saying that, let's see. Now that we have a good prompt to build the detailed admin dashboard to view this data, search for students, see their data. Let's see. No, sorry. Now what would be a good prompt to build a detailed admin dashboard? So I'm asking the AI, what should I do? And I want to make it a new HTML document. So here, essentially, it's going to be right over here. I'd create a new one of these. I'm telling it that like, hey, I wanted to email every teacher who didn't finish their submission for today. It's not going to do that. It'll have a button. So let me explicitly tell it that I want to have a button. The email those didn't finish today. KPIs, that's just a fancy business word. That just means key performance indicators, just some cool data points. And then no email dependencies, so anyone can view it. Right now, you could tell it like, hey, only certain emails can view it. I only want these admin to be able to view this admin dashboard. That way you can lock down more of the admin dashboard. But just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to say, just let it be viewed by anyone that goes to the correct link. And here, it might ask me questions. It might just build it. We'll see what happens. So here is telling me this exact prompt. Here's a lot of crazy stuff that sounds correct to me. The dashboard should calculate and display KPIs, just like total submissions today, average behavior score, average graph score. These are all the suggestions that it's making me. A line chart showing scores over time, a searchable table, and I can just tell it as well, like, hey, I don't like these. Maybe do this instead. Maybe add these things. So this is the prompt that AI just made out of nowhere. So I could tell like, hey, I wanted to change it. I don't want this. But for now, is there a chance that the AI will get confused the more instructions I add to the prompt? Not necessarily. That's like a thing of like hallucination and context. The one thing that AI does really well is coding. So if you're trying to make an image, and I'm sure as well as everyone's, we've tried to make an image probably on AI. Sometimes the more instructions you give it, the more confused it does. There's this idea that AI gets slightly confused, and it remembers your beginning, it remembers your ends, but it forgets the middle parts. But with coding, thankfully, it's very much built on code. The reason why it's AI so good on code is there's something called GitHub, and there's all these different things of this. AI was fed all this crazy code that tons and tons of people have done and utilized. So that's one nice thing about AI is it's pretty good at coding. So I'm just gonna do exactly what it says. Replace your existing. Let's try this. So same idea. I have to hit this button, and then here it's telling me create an admin HTML. So I'm gonna hit this button. Create HTML, select HTML, name it exactly admin. And then now I just copy paste this in here. And so then here, I'm just going to hit deploy. I'm going to hit deploy and do exactly what it told me to do. Let's see. Anyone with a Google account? Perfect. So now I'm just going to do exactly what it says. So here, add this thing to the end of it. So at the end of this link, and we'll see what kind of admin dashboard it gave me. And sometimes it might not work. So we'll give it a second. Let me see, I'm being, oh, here we go. Here's something cool. So now that something didn't work, what do we do? So here, there's a lot of stuff happening in the coding world, and there's an error that happens in the code that AI outputted. So I'm gonna hit this. All that you have to do is control or double tap or right click or left click. So I'm right clicking on my mouse and I hit this inspect button. I'm gonna go to console, and here's a very bad red message. I'm sure all of us know that Reddit means bad. So I'm just gonna tell the AI, I got an error. And I just paste exactly what it did. I probably should have been a little better prompting, should have said, hey, I got an error, help me fix it. We'll just see what AI does with this. Let me close out some of these tabs, that way I don't get lost in the millions of tabs. There we go. When you updated, the global constant at the very top got deleted. So here, the reason why it failed is because when AI told me, it deleted the old stuff. So up here at the very top, we had these things. And then when AI gave me the new one, it didn't include it. So AI was a little bad at it for a second there. So now I can just scroll down at the bottom and it said, hey, I figured it out why it's bad, my bad, and now it inputted it correctly. So same exact idea. Deploy, this part's important too. If you hit new deployment, the link changes. If you hit manage deployment, so if I hit new deployment and I go through the whole step, that link, this link that works will no longer work. So if you're just making changes, if you're doing things, you always have to hit manage deployment, hit this pencil, hit up here, and hit new version, and then you're done. So now let's try it again. And here, let's go ahead and do this and append this little thing at the very end. And so here's my dashboard. So out of today's submissions, 3 people have submitted it. 3.7, all these things. Here I can see and email every single person that didn't submit their thing today. Here I can see the submission basis and tons of stuff. I can search by student and see all their submissions for the student. So just like that, I have a pretty easy dashboard that can constantly change. You know, I could tell it, I could have made it a little better, saying I want to see longitudinal data, I want to see data over time. Again, the prompt that I told AI to help me make wasn't that good. So I could just say like, hey, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to be able to do this, I want to be able to do that. Yeah, questions, yeah. Some people have been known to make that mistake when deploying it. It happens, yeah. If you accidentally, again, go ahead and do this. So this is an important part. If you're making a web page, you have to make sure that you hit manage deployments. And I'll walk through that again. So the first time you do it, you're gonna hit deploy, new deployments. You're gonna make sure that it's on a web app. All these other ones are above our use. There's no reason for us to use it. And the most important part, if you're just tuning in, is you're using this thing. Anyone within Google, within your Google organization, this will say your school as long as you're in your email accounts. Riverdale or whatever school that you're at. Most likely it won't say your school, it'll say the district, but regardless, this is what makes your thing compliant. So like, this is the AI that I'm using is currently it is a paid version, but you don't necessarily need a paid AI. Paid especially with Google Gemini, it's very nice. So like, for example, over here, this is my non-paid version. I can do the exact same thing as long as I can scroll all the way up. and I can do it. The better model that you utilize, the better your answers will be. So I could be thinking I could be pro. Once I use pro in Gemini, I can only use it like 5 times, and then I run out of time for a little bit. If you use Claude as well, if you use ChatGPT, the better model that you utilize, the better the output would be. If I use a fast model, the page will look a little clunky. It could not work. So the better model that you utilize, the better result. So Gemini allows you to do a couple under Pro, and it's fine. Same thing with Claude. If I just signed up for it, there it is. So if you sign up for Claude, oh, that's funny, GC. I can do adaptive thinking or more thinking. And so here, if I want to use the best model, 4.7, I have to pay, but Sonnet 4.6 with adaptive thinking is also fine. Does the response differ depending on the AI you're using? Like, is Gemini better? I think all of them are basically the same. Sometimes I jump around. The only difference is if I told AI to make this web page. Let's do that really quick. Let's see what happens if I do this. Modify this code to make it look better. And so at least for me, whenever I use different AIs, they have different styles. So their pages look a little different. So Claude AI is very well known in how it looks like. It looks very cyberpunk-esque. They're trying to make it a little better. Very sometimes neon colors, purple gradients, very weird fonts. So in terms of functionality, the functionality is the same regardless of what AI you use, at least in my opinion, to what our usage is. The coding required for these things is very tiny, right? So like the amount of code that this is generating is 200 lines of code. To be able to create these heavy level functions, software, stuff like that, you're writing hundreds of thousands of lines of code. So this is like nothing in comparison to what they utilize to build all these other websites. So the utility, to answer your question and more succinct, is that the functionality is the same in my opinion based off of whatever AI you use, but the way the dashboard, the way your website will look if you make a website will be different. Of course, I always think Claude AI takes forever because right now it's writing it in the background. I wish it would just show me, but it's almost done. So as you can see here that it's taking a long time. So just kind of like what I said is I can do this exact same thing. And if I use the fast model, it's going to do it pretty fast and it's going to look pretty weird looking. So sometimes it won't be good. So I would take this with a grain of salt to see if it even works. Here it even like says it like we're not emailing people, a placeholder. So I can read code a little bit pretty decently. And so this one isn't, this fast model, this cheap model isn't doing it what I told it to do. It's just slightly different, but it would still work in theory. And so here this gray even tells me that it did a syntax error, for example. But yeah. Let's go back to this Claude in a second. We'll see what it does. But again, I like to iterate that all of this, the solutions are limitless in terms of what these AIs can do and what it can create. Like for example, I'm just going to go over some ideas that we've utilized at our own school. Showing these and building these, I can't necessarily because it has tons of student data, but I've taken some screenshots that have fake data. I've taken some screenshots that work differently. So here, for example, is that let's say we have an attendance taker for ISI. So here's student A, student B, student C, and the person who's there in ISI is, in our SIS system, they're flagged as ISS or ISI in school suspension the whole day. But who's taking attendance there, right? A paper, pencil, all these things. So here we created one that allows them to take attendance And even over time, we can see the historical data saying like, hey, student C has been here 7 times. They were absent 1 time for ISI, so they should be assigned for it again later. We've created one for eligibility. That way teachers can make their own student lists. It tracks their eligibility over weekly downloads. Daily messages are sent to attendance secretaries. So every single coach in the building creates a list, says all that we have in the back end is just one spreadsheet that says this is every single kid in the school. And so then it just, we told, prompted the AI and did a little bit of coding. It did some tweaks and some manual coding as well, because this is a pretty big one. I think this one has roughly 20,000 lines of code, so tons of stuff. But this tracks eligibility. All what we have is one individual taking all the grades from SIS and inputting it into Google Sheet, and it's able to read all that daily. It emails all the attendance secretaries saying, hey, all these kids will be absent based off of what the coach has put in, saying that they have an event this day. We've done some tracking to complete paperwork that requires parent approval. So that same idea how all of you just got an email. The student fills out a form, it automatically emails the parents in SIS for confirmation, and we've completely eliminated paperwork in that regard. We've done instructional informal walkthroughs for some of the admin and the instructional coaches, where admin can fill it out. The teachers can be automatically emailed. It tracks who hasn't had a walkthrough in a long time, saying that hey, Miss Johnson hasn't been had a walkthrough in a long time, so let's be sure we check on her to make sure that we're prioritizing student mastery and all the good things. And again, it also tracks admin who haven't done walkthroughs. So these are just examples, right, of things that we've created that an AI could also build for you in a way. But some of these features, these are very long. I wish I could show screenshots, but I can't. This is one that I do have a little bit of screenshots for. Is we've actually done an at-risk, sort of like an MTSS sort of hub that tracks grades over time. This is to your question, I think at the very beginning, where you said, could we have it track years worth of data? So we have it track years worth of data, track how long the student has been failing, track how many Fs they have, track behavior. And the version that I made has a very complex at-risk analysis that AI maybe could help you, but not necessarily, because this took maybe 40 to 80 hours of coding to be able to do. But anyway, it can calculate the likelihood a student will fail, and it'll target students that are failing and likely to fail, and even failing but unlikely to fail. So here's a quick little snippet of the dashboard saying hey, 5.2% of students are failing. Here are the total students in the school. These are the total failing percent, and every single time they click on one, you can see all those kids that are there. We can even see failing by classes. So saying that the English 2, let's prioritize this PLC because 44 students are failing English 2 right now out of a whole caseload. So tons of stuff. You can track in-house PDs. You can even create curriculum materials. So here's a cool one as well. So here we created for all students to do. They answer these questions. They get it wrong, they get it right, and all of it is saved in the back end. Oh, my guessing's pretty bad. And then we have an admin dashboard showing all this data of every single student that's done it. Again, this is fake data, but we'll see this. If you see me jump a little bit, I had a cat try to jump on my lap. But here you can see all this is fake data. All these features don't exist, but same idea. You can create dashboards just like this. You can see by standard, see by student, how they did and which course are they in. You can compare between teachers. The possibilities that you can create with dashboards and things like that are insane. This might have taken probably at least 30 hours. So it takes, like I just said at the very beginning, is that AI is a huge iterative process. Finally, just a little plug. Hopefully you feel like you actually walked away with something that you can kind of try. If you want to learn more, of course, I went ahead and did a big old thing. showed a lot. It was very dense. If you, I think probably in the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna send out an email. If you want to like learn more and go slower and see all these things and also build your own, there's a 3 1-hour workshop, so 3 hours in total. There's the price. Group PD if you ever need me, if you want me to teach your whole school. Same idea if you want one-on-one, and if you're flexible and things like that. And if you want me to build something of these custom, any of these ideas or anything you've had, I'd be happy to do that as well if you ever want to contact me. I think